Hello and welcome to the Craft Bar. Thanks for joining us for brunch today. Brunch is where we're going to take things a little slower and we're going to walk through a project step by step. Today I'm getting very hands-on again. It's going to be a lot of fun, very playful, and definitely easy to customize to whatever project you'd like it for. So feel free, craft along with me. Just enjoy the process maybe of watching what I do, see if I do it well, if I make any mistakes. But my mom made me this awesome pocket folio. She made one for my sister, and I liked it so much. I saw it and said, "Where's mine?" And she did make me a beautiful, beautiful one. And I'll just quickly show you. I have a video about this, so if you check out my happy hour, you'll see our happy hour video about this really fun pocket folio. And it is filled. It has a latch around it with a string and button latch to keep it closed. It's got 2 slide pockets at the front and the back, and then all these nice insert pockets for you to put scraps, receipts. This is so compact that I can keep this folded and stick it into, my work bag or my purse even. Every time I look at it, it makes me think it smells good. And right now I'm all stopped up, so you can hear that in my voice. The cedar fever in Central Texas is definitely hitting me in full force. But when I look at this folio, it smells so clean. So love it. And that's what we're going to do today. She gave me all the materials to make one that's almost complete, and then I've got materials just plain from the start to make one. So I'm going to try to make 2 in my time today, and you can either make 1 or just watch along and see how this goes for me. I'm going to give you a list of materials. I'll post that up here in the video, and that way you can, if you want to try it out, pause and go grab these things together. Certainly, I think with all projects, it's great to start with scrap materials, things you've got laying around. That way, if you like it gives you a first concept. And if you really like it, you can go back with things that mean a lot to you. Okay, things we need. She says you're going to want 6 pieces of 9-inch by 7.5-inch paper. And she says double-sided paper because hers is beautiful, right? In my finished example, and I guess I'll leave it open. In this one, you can see she used this beautiful double-sided paper. And that's awesome. You don't need it, y'all. I'll tell you right now, for my personal version, I'm using some paper I have left over from a Christmas project. So it's printed on one side and clean on the other. And that's going to be fine. For this paper, she's already done most of it. And you see it's double-sided and very pretty, but not necessary. Depends on what you're, to do the project, you don't need it. A bone folder, so something, if you want to score, something you can press your edges down, that's always nice to have. Optional. Double-sided tape or glue. I've got my glue runner, and I've got a set of Scotch tape. Any adhesive you've got, you could staple this theoretically. Liquid glue would work, so some type of adhesive. Optional, a circle punch. I don't have a circle punch. She uses that to make these notches in the pocket. I don't have one. I looked at my stuff. I've got this bad boy. It's a giant, not octagonal, hexagonal punch. And we'll see if that does it for me. Why not? An all needle and waxed thread. So you do need these things. Some type of thread. I don't think this is waxed, but she gave me this. This is baker's twine. I'm pretty certain this might be Dollar Tree baker's twine. But the colors are pretty and it matches the stuff she gave me. And then you do need a needle. I went and looked at my stash and I got, honestly, one of the largest dyed needles I could find. I'm not going to try to struggle with this project. And then for an awl, that's just, something sharp. So I happen to have one. But if you've got on your Cricut one of these weeding tools or on any type of one of these sharp tools, that's all you need. You're going to be poking a hole in it. If you don't have anything like that, right, you could... If you just have the needle and it's big enough like this, you might be able to get your hole going with just the needle. It's going to be a little bit harder. Anyway, if you've got it all, it's going to be very useful to have that. And then a button. I've got a whole bag of buttons. We'll go through those. My mom gave me a button for this, and here it is. Got a button. She even gave me a sticker to really make pretty where the button's going to go. That's definitely an optional thing. All right. So that's the stuff you're going to need to have. Grab those things together. And then, again, the paper is 9 inches across, because you're going to fold it in half to get it 4.5. And then 7.5 inches. So 9, 7.5 inches. And that's true even for the cover. So to do it, let's do it together. Find a piece of paper that you want to be your cover page. And it need not be anything pretty. She's given me beautiful double-sided paper, but it can be the exact same paper you're going to make the rest of the folio out of. So you want that paper to be 9 inches wide and 7.5 inches tall. So I'm going to grab my paper cutter. I've got a good old Fiskars. So 9 inches across. Seven and a half inches wide. There's my first two. Nine inches wide. And 7.5. Oh, I hope y'all had a good week. My weekend has been lovely. Alright, so I got my pages. Now, we're going to cut them in, we're going to not cut them, we're going to fold them in half. So, you can score it at 4.5. So, that's one way to do it, right? Just like that. Got my first page. Gonna have to do it with each page. Now, this is one where you might not want to bother having them all on here. Easier to do it one at a time. So 4.5. I've got lines all the way through, makes it easy. I never bought a scoreboard, and I've done it this method that we're doing here, which is easy for me to show you because I've already got my my cutting mat or my self-healing mat down here. But the other way I do it, and I guess I'll show you that for the last one. I take my cutting mat. Oh, I just hit my stuff. Sorry if it shook the camera, y'all. I'm new at what I'm doing. I got my cutting mat. I bring it down here to the 4.5, right? And then I've already got a groove. I'll just follow that groove. And, you know, there. I have scored it just as beautifully as one of those. I spent a lot of money on craft stuff, so don't get me wrong. I have spent too much money on stuff that I didn't, you know, value and bang for the buck. But for some reason, I just can't see myself. Every time I look at one of those things, I go, I can do a lot with that 20 or 30 bucks. More than put a line down something for which I already have a solution. I don't know. What do you think? Y'all feel the same way? Do you have one? Is it worth the money? Truly, truly, truly. How often are you scoring where you've been like, this is what made the difference for me? Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. I could eat my words here. Alright, now, one thing I've thought is that if I wanted to be smart about it, I would reverse it this way, and that way when I glue my pockets together, only the white side will be showing. Alright, but I have folded all my paper, I've got it together, and now my mom did give me, pre-done, some pieces of paper, and I'm going to use this one as my cover. But you don't have to, you know, whatever you want. Let's see, what was it? It looked a little bit bigger. No, it says it's 9 inches, it just felt a little bigger. But we'll go same thing, 4.5 on it. Get that scored. Yeah, someone told me you should start in the middle, otherwise it kind of folds off, and they're right. So I can fix that though by starting back in the middle. And now we have fixed it. Look at that. Okay. So now I'm on my way. I think what I might want to do with this idea is I could make these bigger and color code them and then organize stickers and rhinestone embellishments with them that way. And when I looked at all of these folios together in my sticker and rhinestone area, I'd say, oh, I need these colors, and I could pull that out, and then in them would be the individual sizes and different, I've got like sheets of rhinestones, and that's one idea. I've thought about using these to color code things. So now that I have my pages folded and this way, what I want to do is create the pockets. When I look at the folio, it's going to open up here. I'm going to have a cover, and this will be where I can put an interior pocket in, something I slide in. But my first full-size page pocket will be these two pages together. Right, these two. So this will be one, and then the next two pages will be one. She also found it useful to punch the center so you can open it up. I'm going to go ahead and do that in advance because I know I want to glue all the pages together, and that just seems easier than doing it after the fact when I have them. I don't have them individually here. So let's see. For laying it out, how far down do I want to come? I guess what I could do is I could, on each page, I could go to that first halfway here. How much down do I think that is? That's a lot of a notch, right? That's substantially more notch than what my mom put in. Let's not worry about it. I'm not going to bother with punching the edges of these. I'm going to just go with it plain, and if I want, I can always come back and maybe, if I need to, cut it with scissors or something. All right, next thing we have to do is make the pockets. We've got to adhere the sides. Now, she used her glue tape, and I've got that on the original one, and it's like this on that one, so that she put, on the inside of each pocket, she put a piece of glue down the edges, and then she pushed them together, and that's what's given you two pockets out of each. Because right now, if I don't, I can come all the way through like this. It's just when it's folded that it makes those two nice pockets, and all of these together. What I'm going to do, though, and let me not put my two pages together. What I thought about doing is the difference, taking a bit of a break here because I've reorganized. With this one, the edges were glued together to make each pocket, so you have a good amount of space inside it until you reach the edges. You are limited a bit by the edges, but it has a nice, consistent hold, and you're not going to lose anything except out of the front. So, good way to glue them together. Just put a strip of glue and then press the pages down. For this model, I'm going to try something different. This is the way my mom did it first, and I really like it, but I'm experimenting here on the Brunch. So I'm going to instead tape them together from the outside, and I think that would give me then theoretically the entire length. My hiccup and concern with that is if I don't get it nice and smooth, then things could get cut or could get stuck in the edges of where that tape goes. So, but let's see. Let's see if it's in theory it should work. So if this is my cover, then the first two pages, and the other thought I had was making multiple, having them all glued together or taping them all together to make this multiple. But I think that would also limit how much space I could get. If I only adhered them on the edges, then I'm just getting that. I think the individual pages, as my mom did it, makes more sense because then you can tuck things inside it. All right, my first pocket would be these first two pages. So down, take a piece of tape, and I know that if I have pockets in the front, I'm gonna have pockets in the back, right? I'm gonna try to get as close as I can to the edge here. I can go ahead and tape the front and back pockets simultaneously. I am not going to tape over the center crease. So this is the center fold to the pocket folio. I'm not going to tape over that. I'm only going to tape from here up and from here up. And I think that will allow it to fold better. So I'm trying to put my tape about halfway on the paper and then halfway onto the cutting mat. And that way when I bring it up, I will have it'll be half over and I can fold it over easier. At least that's my thinking here. So I'll start up here, down and smooth. And about halfway over and smooth. Make sure there's no gaps in your tape. So far, so good. Alright, now I'm going to start with the top. I'm going to pull it up because this is still attached, and I'm just going to fold over kind of from the middle and then down. And oh yeah, that worked. That worked nice. That's what, okay, now I don't want to do that down here. Okay, now down here, I'm going to just flip over like this. Come over and same thing. From the center, smooth it down. From the center and smooth it down. Oh, that kind of ruffled there, but that's alright. And now, when I fold it, I have 2 pockets. Just as expected. Okay. They want to whop open right away. I see that. They're going to want to pop open when I've done that because I've given it plenty of room. But I have all of that space now to put things in. Okay. I got 2 full size. Let's do it again. I realize because I'm going to make them separate, if I put the print to its inside, then you would never see the print would just cover itself and you wouldn't see this other page. I can disguise that nicely. Alright, got my pages together. I'm going to line them up, kind of square them along my cutting mat. I remember the first time I saw a cutting mat. It was definitely on YouTube. It was related to quilting. I saw people using rotary cutters and cutting mats to very quickly cut their large swaths of fabric, and I was fascinated because it seemed so quick and easy, and indeed it was. And after I got one, I've never really looked back. Love me a rotary cutter for certain projects. But you didn't hear about them. You didn't see them in the store. At least I wasn't then. Now they're more common. I mean, now you could even get them at the dollar store. But that wasn't so when I first... I'm going to come right to the edge here with my tape. That wasn't so when I was first getting into things. Alright, so I'm going to pull up this edge first. Down the center. Smooth it out. Here. Down the center. And then smooth it out. That worked very well. Pulling it up. Oh, did I not tape it to itself? So it worked really well, y'all, but I didn't actually tape it to the piece of paper. So go, not me. All right, well, let's try it again. Whoops. To the center, smooth it. To the center and smooth it. Now, did that work? Okay, that taped it together, so. We all have moments. Just hold that down. Now I know where I need to go. I just put the tape over where I had the tape before. Second time. We aren't going to need a third time. We're going to get it done second time. There's going to be no third time's a charm. It's going to be second time perfection. Alright, over. From the middle and smooth. From the middle and smooth. And now do I have pockets? Now I have some pockets. Alright. Now, a difference I see is that by doing it the edges out, it does make the pockets want to stick out. They're already opening, they're bulging, whereas in this one, they lay very flat. So things aren't going to be prone to fall out of them. You might be more limited in how much you fit in it because of the edges, but certainly in this method, I can immediately see that it, by taping it over like that, it wants to open up. So if I have small pieces, they're going to want to come out. So you have your cover and you have your glued together or taped together pockets that you want to put into your booklet folio. We need to make 2 holes at the top and at the bottom so we can thread through these pieces to the cover. If you don't have all and you didn't want to make it so, this is nice heavy duty paper, but if your paper is more lightweight or if you're just sort of trying this out, you could also get out a long stapler, open it up and staple this shut, and that would secure it. The problem with the staple method is that it's not as I think it's likely to fall apart. I think the pockets are likely to pop out depending on the strength of your stapler and how deep you really get the, depending on your stapler, it will give you varied results as to whether this will fall apart. With the string and needle method, you're very likely not going to have that happen. The paper is going to fall apart before the hold gives out. So to make your, we'll start with my version, which I think might be a bit easier because this one is very thick and it's going to require a bit of oomph. Here, you don't have to do it all as one big cycle. In fact, you can do it one at a time. The risk with that, though, is that your holes truly don't line up if you're not just as exact as you think you are. And for that reason, I think I'm going to try to do it all as one. So I've just lined my stuff up as smooth as I can together. And you could use paper clips, right? You could grab a clip and try to hold your paper together. I have a few paper clips here. You could, to keep your paper from sliding, do something like that. Try to give yourself some more support or guidance so the paper doesn't move while you do what is a pretty important step, but certainly no one's going to tell if your holes go wonky because you're going to cover it up on the outside with the spine of binding, right? The yellow is the paper my mom used. This orange piece is the spine she put over it. So we can do that, and you can do that with just another piece of white paper or with something pretty and decorative, washi tape even, whatever you've got around. But I'm going to take this. I am going to use a ruler. Now that we've got it lined up, let's mark 3 holes. So at 7.5 inches, that's going to put me at 3 3/4 to be dead center. And my mom suggested 3 holes. So if we put that as the center, I'm going to come off of that. 2 inches in. 2 inches in. Looks good to me. 3 holes, so measuring it out. And then, like I said, if you have an awl, you've got either one of these. You just start, push straight down, and pull your paper up from the bottom. And eventually you'll see very quickly a hole forms. In fact, that might be too big of a hole, but don't worry. Push down and pull up with your paper from the bottom, and the minute it starts to come up, you know you've done your job. Same thing, flat, down. I'm sort of not pulling, I'm just guiding up, and it starts to work its way through if you have a nice sharp awl. Now let's see, that worked very smoothly for typing paper in a single piece of cardstock. This one is all cardstock. Very, very, very dramatically much heavier duty, right? Heavy crease in the spine for this one. I am going to want to, again, use a material to keep this in place. So I'm going to borrow this from here, keep these in place, take that off over here. Same thing, we got to measure this out. I know I am 7.5 inches. Get myself centered in there, right there. I'm going to use yellow just so it blends in a little better with this where I make my hole. Okay, so there's my marks. Take my awl, we'll start with the middle one. Push it down, 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 like a little screw. I'm just starting to side, and there it goes. Okay, so I pushed it side to side. Same thing here. Push down and then kind of work it side to side, I guess like a screw. And I'm gently pulling up on the paper, but it's just to help me know when I've made it all the way. Down, And then again with a little bit of a twisting motion, like a screw, pulling, just kind of pressing upward until I feel it start to come. Yeah. And now we have made it all the way through. And they are pretty even. So looking good. Now I have my 3 evenly spaced holes. I'm going to take me out some twine and my needle and get ready to use it. I think I'm going to go with the green. I think that's very pretty. Again, you're only going to see on the inside because we're going to cover up, or at least in mine, we're going to cover it up with a spine, with something to further cover it up. And you're also going to cover up the string a bit inside. You can, and you might want to, with its own piece of binding tape. You know, put some washi tape down over it there to further secure it. I'm going to begin by, I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to just leave it here. I've pulled enough thread length that I believe is needed for me to make the spine with my 2 very large stitches. I'm going to just go in here from the center, and I'm going to go in from the middle of the interior and come out and go around and back through. I'm not going to drop my needle. So I'm going to come out that top hole, and it's all together still, so I can actually see through it. Come right through. And then back through. I'm making kind of a figure 8 here with mine. So I've come back through the outside. And now that I'm here, I'm going to make a knot. I'm going to press this down. I'm going to come underneath the big stitch, around this one, and up underneath it. And then I'm going to tie again. And now I have tied it. And I'm going to trim this not too short. I'm going to trim it here and get that nice and tidy. To do the outside, to cover the spine up, you want to make a piece that's 7.5 inches by 3 3/4. I'm just going to fold it in half. This is not that big a piece of paper. I can do that old-fashioned style. Just eyeball it up. Because it's going to cover up piece of paper on the inside. It's really just covering up the twine. To the center and out. Good with that. Now I have tape. I'm a tape runner. Very impressive. Gonna go right over that. Right over that piece of twine because it can. And on the here, I'm going to get the edges nicely because I want to make sure that stays down smooth. And I got plenty of glue along the center, so I'm not as worried about that. But across here and down, and the edge is really good. A little bit in here. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. And I don't mind getting all sticky over here, y'all. I take care of that, no problem. Alright, so we folded and we folded. I'm going to get as close to the edges as I can. And down along the center. Here we go. Fold that over. Nice. Now we're covered in here. Secured on the outside. We're going to do the same thing with the outside piece. So I will take away those pieces. So now I have my interior covered. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the outside. This, which is nice. My mom had already, this was the cut she gave me, so I'd know the size for the spine. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to fold it in half. And from the center, pushing out, keeps that relatively smooth. open it back up, and then I'm going to apply double-sided tape, or my glue runner here, nice and deep, all on that. I'm going to get those edges very good, so I don't mind going over onto my crafting mat with all that tape, because one, it's going to come clean when I'm done here with the alcohol wipe, and I really, really, really want to make sure that I get this. So don't glue it to itself. That's the fallacy of some of your crafting, y'all. How many of you have done this? Raise your hand if you've done that. Okay, we're still safe. My tutorial has gone awry. Alright, you put it here, you push it down, and that's how I kind of line it up, right? Lay it down, and then again from the middle, and then out. From the middle and out. And this is where the bone folder would come in handy. And I had one at the beginning, it got buried in my stuff. So here, here, and here. Get that smoothed down, here, and here. And with the glue runner, I find if you kind of get too much glue in the edges, you just kind of rub it over with your finger and it will ball up like eraser specks, and you can easily rub that off. They actually make little eraser blocks for it, and I've had pretty good use with those. They're worthwhile at getting some of that off. I like it already. This is, so we're done. You know, you're at this stage, for most people, you could call this a project, but we're going to add the official button enclosure here. Otherwise, I know if you were poor man's version, take a rubber band and say, hey, I'm done, I'm going. So I've got my all done with this one. I need a little bit of string, and I need to come up with my interior and exterior colors for what I wish to do with that. Here is the button. Now this one, we're going to make it more simple, right? We said we're not doing a whole lot. I've still got some twine on my needle, so I'm good to go. Gonna make a, let's see real quick. I'm gonna just push through and come. Yeah. This one you have in place, and it's nice and easy. If you're wanting to secure it and you're more pressed for issues, just take a piece of tape. And you know, this one we tape the edges, so we're kind of just taping it all up here in general. Also with the tape, this isn't gonna fray very much. You're not gonna get a whole lot of unraveling from it. And so now this one has been secured. It's smoothed out. We have the tape on the inside, and you know, you could take tape and just tape it over and be done, and that would secure it. That would give you all that you needed out of it. You could do nothing. You could put a piece of tape over it to really give yourself some security, and I would definitely recommend that you do that, right? Because this is just paper. And these holes are going to want to naturally expand. And putting the tape over it helps to stop that. This really avoids all of those issues for you. All right, so we've got it taped, we've got it secured, we've got our pockets in here. You know, we did not notch into the pockets. That is definitely something we could have done. But because our pockets are really sort of laying open for us, I'm not as worried about that. All right, we got them together like that. Now this one, so we've seen some of the differences though, because this one, I taped the pockets on the outside. It wants to open up much, much more so than this one, which opens in the center, but the pockets themselves do not pop open, and that would be a difference. So this one we haven't put a binding on it, and let's do that. Well, you know, I would just use a piece of that white paper from the template my mom gave me. Alright, here we go. Boom. I like that. I'll fold that in half. Glue that down. Alright, got it standing up. So by standing it up and standing this up, we're trying to get them essentially the same. And we know where the fold is at, so roughly there. Round, down, and here. All right, so we're rocking and rolling. We've got our 2 folios. We're going to finish these. We have created the pockets for them, and we've already bound them together. Next thing we need to do is add the buttons so that we can secure it shut. You want to line them up on something so that you can get where the center is, and you want the button to be not too close up here. You want to be a little bit further down, maybe not halfway, but about 1/3 of the way. This one's not quite. She's a little more over, and then she's added some security to it, but I'm going to aim for about right here, and that gives me good distance to and from. So I'll just take my cover, and you can measure it out over here and really line it up. I'm just going to put it down and take note that I'm at 5 to 12.5. And so this is about my center point here, based on where my notches are. I'm going to get my pen, and you can definitely use your ruler and be as exact as you like with this. I said I wanted to be about 1/3 of the way in, and this is 3, and so nothing too exact, just right. We know it is 7.5, so 3 3/4 is about right here. This is where we're going to want to put our awl, and that's just a small space. And one thing you can do to strengthen this is you can add a piece of tape, a small piece, nothing that large. You can add a small piece of tape to the front where the button is going to go over, and to the back, and you can cover that up eventually with a piece of paper. My mom has used, to good effect, she put a sticker down, and I think that's what we'll do here. I think that looks very sweet, and you can put the sticker facing any way you like, but the sticker is plastic, and it also adds some security to where that hole is going to go, and I think that's a smart way to do it. Take the sticker off the sheet, and since I know where my center of the hole is going to be, I'll put that right there, and that way the button will come out in the middle, and that'll be just as cute. So here's again where I'll take some of my twine, and I will not cut it off because I'm going to want to leave that tail to wrap it around when we're done. Just up through. Don't need a lot because the button will be easy to secure, right? You don't have to do a whole lot. And that giant eye through the button, that was something to consider. Well, the giant eye of it went through the first time. It's just being tough with me this time. There we go. Whew, just barely. All right, got it through. I am going to bring it back right next to where it was. Give myself just a small space. Bring it tight. And with the bit that's back here, so I'm going to tie it here. Actually, tie my tie. There we are. And then I'm going to push through one final time just outside of the radius and pull my thread through and leave it. And then on the inside, I'm going to cut that in and put a piece of tape over it to secure it down so that doesn't unravel. And now I have a completed folio. I can pull this around and tie it tight. And I have plenty of space on this. If you think this is too long, you can definitely shorten it, but I think it would be better to err on the side of caution and have too much length than not enough. And fun! So you have made a pocket folio. That's the second one. So my mom's all stiff, nothing but cardstock. This one is a combination of cardstock and then thinner paper. And this one is just a single piece of kind of thin cardstock and then just typing paper. A very, very easy one made from scraps. We have not done much embellishing, if any, on this one. I'm just going to punch a hole now and add in a tie to it. Mark it on the front or the back, however you like it. I've got my awl. Gonna punch through. Got me a little spot. All right, easy peasy. Go in from the top so I can leave that longer tail at the front. And wait, before I do that, let's strengthen this because this is just simple paper. I am going to take a piece of tape. I'm going to put tape over this, front and back. I don't have that nice sticker, but I can put plain Scotch tape or plain just tape over that. And by doing that, I will definitely improve its longevity. the paper is less likely to just fall apart on me. All right, now I need to get a button for this. So I have a whole bag of buttons. That looks fun, and it's got large buttonholes, so we'll go with that one. I like that. All right, now I've strengthened this with 2 pieces of tape. I'm going to come around. I've got my buttonholes. Starting from the bottom, I'm going to come through, lance my button both ways, come back through, got it here. Going to tie my button down, and then I'll push back through one of those little holes that I've already made for the buttonhole, but I'm not going to go through the button. I'm going to come out from just underneath it. And then just pull that out, and I'm all done with my needle and thread now. On the back end, I do want to tape that over and secure that down just to prevent fraying. Long term, good maintenance that way. And now this one is complete. And you have made 2 folios, very short time. One completely from scratch, one that was prettier and got started. But you see, oh yeah, this one's much too long. We'll shorten that one up a bit. Okay. And at this stage, you've got 6 pockets in the folio, and you can start storing things in these. You can tuck them in your purse or in your journaling area, keep them in your nightstand, anything you want. Tuck away ideas, write slips and notes to yourself. They're great for that. Folios are useful for organizing. You can label each pocket to be a different goal, and keep mementos in there, or check off the list as you're working toward that goal. Affirmations to yourself about how you can keep yourself on track and on pace. Another thing you can do to these is add some quick extra pockets. So very shortly I'll show you with just pieces of paper. So in this one, we've opened it up, and if I wanted to add some extra slip-in pockets, or if I wanted to cover up where that is, I can easily do that with scraps of paper that I still have from that cardstock. So these are strips of paper left over from it. And you can see that they coordinate because they are the same 2-sided pattern. And we also have plain white paper. And what you do is you have your, you take a rectangle and you just turn it on its corner and you cut diagonal to diagonal. You make a very long slide-in pocket this way. Just like that. So I can take this and I'll put my glue runner to the edge of that. And now I have another pocket that I can stick things into to save for additional items. And I could do that on most pages, in fact. I can do that on the back. I can quickly add one of these to the back folio so that now I have additional space. You can embellish to your heart's delight. I would not do much embellishing on an item like this because I want it to be flat and compact. I find these are a great project to make for journaling folios. You can keep in here quick mementos, stubs, things left over, and then have one pocket for each day of your journey. And when you come home, then there it is. Here's everything I got back from my time at the Alamo in San Antonio. Everything I had from my trip when we got to go to the beach. Wasn't that fun? A great memento from a birthday party. And each pocket is maybe stories about what you received at the gifts. Well, thanks so much for joining me for Brunch at the Craft Bar today. I hope this project was relaxing and approachable, gave you some ideas for what you can do, maybe some ideas about what not to do, or mistakes that you might encounter along the way. If you did enjoy our tutorial and our very low-pressure crafting ideas, please join us for more like this in our Brunch playlist. And also, always like and subscribe. We do want to keep crafting with you. We have lots of fun here at the Craft Bar. Thanks, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.